Do you have news to share? Opening a new location? Announcing funding? Hiring? Partnering? If it matters to your business, it matters to your audience. Share your news with EIN Presswire. Share your news with the world.
My name is Lilibet. I'm a marketing intern at Newsmatics, running the Young Professionals panel. For our first question, I'm wondering if we can go around. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, your organization, and how you started your career in PR? I'll start off with Maya.
So I am actually a graduating senior, from Eastern Kentucky University. I majored in public relations. I am president of my school's EKU PRSSA chapter. So a lot of my work and internship stems from PRSSA directly. I interned with Newsmatics and got that opportunity through PRSSA. A lot of my networks and my connections also have led me to other internships. So that's a little bit about me. I will continue interning after graduation, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
Hi, everyone. I am Kylie. I am a graduating senior also from the University of Tennessee. I studied public relations for all 4 years that I've been there. I am the current PRSSA chapter president for my school, as well as our school's student-run agency director. So I am busy doing a lot of things PR, and after graduation, I am hoping to get a job at a PR agency down in Atlanta.
Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney Sykes. I am a recent graduate of Clark Atlanta University. I am currently a graduate student at Florida State University, obtaining my master's in strategic communication. And I was also president of the CAU PRSSA chapter from 2022 to 2025 up until I graduated. And how I got started in PR was basically through PRSSA, just through meeting different people and hosting these different events. And now I serve as the outreach coordinator at an agency here in Tallahassee, Florida.
That sounds great. Thank you guys for sharing. So to get us started, the question that everyone wants to know, how do you actually use AI in your day-to-day?
I actually, as agency director, we don't use AI in our agency. That is one rule that we have kept since starting. Outside of work, I use it to kind of generate ideas or maybe refine some of my writing, just for giving me maybe better words or better sentences to sound more professional or kind of meet the tone that I'm looking for.
I typically use AI for brainstorming. So say, for example, if I'm planning out an event, I would ask AI to help me generate some ideas and generate a format on how the event should flow. But that's pretty much how I use AI, especially when it comes to PR and marketing, just kind of generate ideas and brainstorm.
I use AI pretty often, and that's because a lot of the times I am balancing a lot of my internships. So I actually use AI for kind of that organization skills. Sometimes I'll get jumbled up and I'm like, okay, wait, take me back here. Can you help me reorganize this just to get me back on track? I am with Kylie though. I do not use AI to write any of my work or anything like that. I would agree though that I use AI more as a tool.
I use it kind of just to reformat already written work. Like if I have like a 400-word description of an event that I've already had to write, I'm like, restructure this into the bones of a press release. And that kind of gives me a good draft to go on.
Yeah.
Well, that's great to hear. And I know AI is kind of, maybe some people argue, oversaturated, and there's a lot of different companies and things coming up. With that being said, how do you define good taste in communications in the age of AI?
Here's my thing. In the PRSA Code of Ethics, it is listed clearly that in order to keep our field and industry moving forward, we must stay on top of the trends. And as we know, AI is one of the biggest trends right now, almost in every industry, not just PR and comms. So with that being said, I think it is important to know how to use AI and to know how to prompt, just because when you're looking for postgrad opportunities, AI won't take your job, but people that know how to use AI will. That's one thing I've kept in mind. So when we're talking about good taste, I think just knowing, honestly, just how to use it, you have to create a full draft, but you do need to know how to use it and how to prompt. I think that's honestly the best way to incorporate AI into our field.
A great answer. Thank you.
I would have to totally agree with Amaya on that. Also, just defining good taste in communications and PR is looking for the humanizing words. AI repeats a lot of things. They are trained by all of us, but they are not trained on a lot of specific little things of just how to be a human and what terms we use on a daily basis. So when I'm looking at work, I can tell if AI was used or not. And I tend to go towards the one that doesn't use AI because that will more relate to everyone that is reading it.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to AI and communications, you have to know how to personalize it as well. Like both Kyla and Amaya said, if AI is very repetitive and repeats a lot of things. So if you know how to use AI, but also know how to personalize it and make it your own, then you have like an advantage, I feel like, when it comes to PR and communications. So that's kind of my take on it as well.
And then kind of a follow-up. What's one of your favorite PR campaigns or standout moments? Something you said, oh, this is really good. I like this.
Well, relating to the Masters, it was the Nike commercial with Rory in it, and that was genius. I'm not a big golf fan, but when I saw him, I guess, repping Nike and doing what he does, and that he is very rare, the second time around champion for the Masters, it really resonated, I feel like, with everyone that saw it. Just the accomplishments that he has done kind of wanted me to do those accomplishments also.
A campaign I've seen recently, which I actually worked on, so this is pretty fun to talk about.
Okay.
I have an internship right now with JMG PR, and one of our clients is Brooklyn Dumpling Shop, based out of Brooklyn, New York. And
Ooh.
Keith Lee, you guys know Keith Lee, the famous TikToker.
I know Keith Lee.
Yep. He made his first influencer investment, and that was in Brooklyn Dumpling Shop. So I got to craft the press release for that and work on that campaign. So that's pretty cool. But I do want to say, recently in campaigns and commercials especially, I've been seeing a lot of AI disclaimers that AI was used in this commercial. I'd seen one randomly for Toyota, and I was like, oh my gosh, did you just see that? Like they had a warning that they use AI.
Green flag or red flag for you?
I think that honesty and disclosure is for sure a green flag. Like I said, it's not a bad thing to use AI. Like I said earlier, we have to keep up with it. It is trending, and that's just a part of our field, is to stay up with the trends. They did the best that they could. They handled it the best way they could. They were honest about it. They disclosed it. I think it's okay.
My favorite campaign was an unplanned campaign, actually. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the incident that happened with Kit Kat, but a lot of Kit Kat got stolen, I guess. And they released a statement, and I'm sure a lot of people, when they first saw the statement, they was like, what is happening? Like, this is serious. But it was like lighthearted and kind of funny. And it stood out to me because I'm like, no way they're doing this over an incident like this. Like, I'm thinking something terrible happened, but I guess it was terrible to them. But what made it my favorite campaign is that a lot of other brands and companies hopped on the trend and started releasing unserious statements, and it shows that it kind of shows that, I guess, when you put something out there, a lot of people are going to follow it, especially if it's lighthearted and funny. And I think that's what made it my favorite.
It's just so funny seeing people so obsessed about it.
I have a follow-up question that I want to ask you guys. So I mentioned that, commercials and films are starting to have that AI disclosure. If we're using AI for our idea creation and drafts, should we also be disclosing it in our press releases, do you think?
Now, I'll jump on that. I don't think it has to be disclosed when it comes to ideas, but if it's like certain details that's inside of the press release that uses AI, then I feel like it should be disclosed. But when it comes to brainstorming and things like that, I don't think it should be disclosed because they don't necessarily know what happens, behind the scenes when it comes to the planning and the details.
I totally agree. I feel like with brainstorming and ideas, you don't need to, but I'm actually taking an ethics class right now, and my view on it, and I fight for it every day, is that when you use AI to generate a full thing that is being put out into the public, that is where you need to disclose it. Yes, some of your customers or audiences may not like that you use AI, but you are still being honest. And for the ones that can see through that, they will trust you more as much as you disclose AI every time.
Agreed. Yeah. Okay, breaking into the second set of questions, breaking into the industry with AI in mind. Okay, what are some green and red flags you notice when reviewing job applications?
I'm looking at job applications right now for the agency because most of us are graduating because we just started up in January. So we hired mainly seniors to kind of get the ground running. And I'm looking at these resumes and they all look the same.
Oh.
And to me, that's a red flag because they are just taking our job description and their past experience, putting it into AI, and it's generating the same format. So to me, that is a red flag. But if they can use AI on resumes, but I feel like they should just use it to maybe generate more sentences in the job description that you've had in the past, but not formatting it with AI.
Yeah.
I do not use AI to create my resume, but I have used AI to reword my sentences to use a stronger active voice. So funny story, actually. I was just in New Orleans for Leadership Assembly with PRSSA, and one of the speakers there actually had an example on a presentation of a resume that was created by AI. But in my head, on the flip side, a part of me is like, okay, sure, streamline it. Okay, but another half of me is like what you had said, Kylie, that they're all going to end up looking the same. But also, I have been under the impression that resumes that are built with AI usually get immediately swatted out of the stack because a lot of companies are also using AI to scan these resumes. So I don't know. I feel like as a young professional getting into this industry, a resume is either a hit or a miss at this point. I'll be honest and transparent. I have a Canva template for my resume. My resume is it's not the typical bulleted list that they want you to do or whatever. Mine is like a black column and then all my experience is listed. It's still basic and has all the good stuff on it. But yeah, that's the only part where I really use AI on my resume is in my sentences and my descriptions of my jobs.
Not all press-wire services are created equal. EIN Presswire is modern, different, better. With transparent pricing, a worldwide distribution network, and friendly people-first support, we help you reach the right audience with just a few clicks. Better distribution starts here. See the difference with EIN Presswire.
Okay, so green or red flag, using AI to help you with a cover letter.
I have never done it.
You never done it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't, but I feel like my writing is strong enough to where I don't need it. But I could see some people using it and needing it.
Yes, agreed. I can say that I have used it in a sense that I have so here's what I do. I have a basic cover letter that's just general for every job, but I will use AI to adjust it and make it more specific to the job that I am applying for.
Ooh.
So usually what I will do is copy and paste the job or maybe the description or the roles that they're looking for, the qualifications, and I will put my cover letter in as well and say, can you kind of reword this to match this job description? And of course, I will go back in though and personalize it because I still think that human connection matters. So that's how I incorporate AI into cover letters.
Okay, so green flag.
Green flag, in my opinion.
What about you, Courtney?
I agree. I agree with Amaya. I do the same thing. If it's a job that I'm applying for, because all jobs have different descriptions, so I'll copy and paste the description from the job description, and then I'll put it into an AI platform, and then I'll have the cover letter that I already have, and I will say, hey, can you retailor my cover letter to fit the description of this job? And then, like Amaya said, I'll go in and personalize it because the human connection does matter. So I would say green flag.
Okay. And then another green flag, red flag question. Green or red flag using AI tools to help you prepare for an interview?
I'm gonna jump in and say green flag.
Green flag. Okay. How are you guys
I
using that?
literally have an interview tomorrow, and I had one yesterday, and I used AI to help me generate questions to ask.
Okay.
Yes.
What were some of the questions? Were they good?
They were good, yeah. There were some that were terrible, and of course I didn't use those. But there were some that I never really thought about. Some were like, what does success look like within 30, 60 days of being in this role? Or what is something that someone has struggled with in the past that I could prepare for? And those are all questions that I feel like I would have generated myself if I thought about it a little bit longer. But with my busy schedule, I don't have 2 hours to sit before an interview to prepare for it. So within an hour, I'm able to get some questions and kind of decide which ones I want to use.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely comes in clutch when I'm like not having like that much time to sit down and prepare. It's a good tool, but should never be a replacement.
I actually have a follow-up question for you guys. Do you use the free versions of AI or do you pay for a specific one?
Free. I mean, one day they're gonna be paid, but until then.
Yes.
Wait, I have another question too. Do y'all feel like universities should pay for it for students?
Ooh, like a textbook subscription.
That's a really good question, though, actually. So I will say it took a while for my professors to hop on board with students using AI. I mean, maybe just a year ago, they were the first to crack down on it and send us to the dean and, well, not us, send people to the dean and just, almost fail the class, really. They're just now getting around to understanding that AI has to be used as a tool nowadays. I think that'll take some time for universities to come around because I think we're still in that phase where AI is a little touchy. Not everyone has fully grasped the concept of it. Yeah. So I think that'll take some time. I do think that will be a very good investment, though.
I would say maybe for specific classes, because I know in PR we're taking a lot of writing courses and the professors are like absolutely no AI, and I understand that. But I'm in an AI class right now, and they're teaching me how to use all different sorts of AI, like Gemini, ChatGPT, Copilot. And if they paid for maybe 3 months worth, then I feel like that would be beneficial because then I'm getting the full idea of what like ChatGPT AI could do.
Well, to get us in the last section of this panel, career lessons and then closing questions. Besides what we've talked about, are you noticing any major shifts in the PR industry right now?
I think that social media management is now falling more towards marketing rather than PR because it definitely started off as a PR job. Mm-hmm. And when let's say you're on LinkedIn, you're on Indeed, and you look up public relations jobs, it's all social media management. But I think it should start to go more towards marketing.
Same thing Kylie said. I've seen a lot of people use more user-generated content and more short videos. But that's also, social media and digital media as well. I think that's more marketing instead of PR. But I'm not against it. I actually enjoy, social media managing, but I do feel like when it comes to the description of what a social media manager is, it definitely should be more broad instead of narrow because it does contain a lot.
One of the biggest shifts I notice is actually the workplace environment for us in PR. A lot of us are remote, and that's totally okay. I think that our aspect of work and the work that we do can be done fully remote. But that also makes me question, PR is all about relationship building. How are we going to move from that face-to-face relationship building to the virtual face-to or relationship building? Because I'm a very in-person person. So, I would love to, if I'm with a client, I'd love to meet with them in person. But again, we'll have to start rethinking that coming in the future.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for all the great input there. As a last final question, what advice would you give to someone just starting their career or hoping to make an impact as a young professional?
Okay.
Start building your network.
Yes,
Start
heavy on
building your
that.
network. Work on those connections.
Mhm.
For us, we were all super lucky to be a part of PRSSA and to have a big leadership position. So that definitely helped. When you go to conferences and you listen to a speaker, go up to them, get their LinkedIn, make an impression. And then as you're looking for internships, for jobs, you have someone that you can immediately go back to and be like, hey, I need help. What can you do for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would agree 100% with Kylie. I know a lot of people say it, and I know it's said all the time, you need to network, but like it is truly the hard truth. I don't have any experience on my resume where I didn't have a network or connection involved. None of it was luck. None of it was none of that. It was a connection and a network. I would also hop back to what I said earlier on keeping up with the trends. Like I said, it's literally a part of our profession and our duty to keep this industry moving forward by staying on top of the trends and pushing them. So stay on top of the trends. You can be against AI, but at least know how to use it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree. Networking is a huge thing, but also knowing how to network. Going back to AI, use AI to, help you generate questions to ask people at these different networking events and these different conferences. And business cards, have some business cards. They can be digital or physical. Definitely recommend digital because it's a lot, cost efficient, and it's easy to just pull up and then not keeping that paper trail. So I would say, definitely, those digital business cards. And also go to the career center at the university that you're at and say, hey, are there any, positions or internships for PR and communications? A lot of times people that are working in these career centers, they won't reach out to you, but if you reach out to them, they definitely will give you, advice and the guidance that you need. So that's kind of my advice for it.
Yeah. So it's definitely like just tell people what you do, and sometimes they'll just think of you in the most random places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a question for all of you that I think would be beneficial for the listeners. Would be,
Okay.
how do you keep up with the trends? Do you follow specific accounts? Do you just scroll on social media? What is it that you do to keep up with them?
Yeah, I'd say social media is a big one. I mean, let's just keep it honest and open. We're Gen Z. There's no hiding that. We're on social media bright and early. Like it's no secret. However, I have always been the person where I also download the actual outlets on my phone, like the apps.
Okay.
So on top of TikTok, I also have, which some of my local outlets. So it's like Lex 18 and CNN. I have those apps as well that send me notifications. So, and I turn off the X notifications. Okay, I'm tired of the X notifications. I'm sick.
It's bad, yeah.
I mean, TikTok is definitely my favorite one to use when getting those the news. But I also use PR Daily as well, which is an outlet. I'll see some articles that they post on their website. It's very helpful because they do post a lot of current trends. I think they post like something like every month almost of like what's new on social media, any updates that X, Instagram, or TikTok may have that we probably aren't even aware of. So I would say I use a blend of everything. Even podcasts are helpful as well because you can listen from, professionals and things of that nature.
I am actually starting to struggle with using TikTok as a news source because the algorithm switched. So now I get very specific videos that have nothing to do with anything going on in the world. They're all just like comedians, like funny videos that I love, but I'm not getting the news that I used to get. And so I'm trying to figure out now an alternative way not using social media and using apps instead.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for all the great feedback and discussions. It's always a pleasure to talk with you guys.
Your competitors are getting media attention. Get distribution that's smarter, better. Thousands of marketing communicators use EIN Presswire to amplify their news. Don't let your competitors own the spotlight.